We begin another season.
With Bridgerton Season 4 coming out soon, I wanted to explore the source material, Book 3. I've done Bridgerton videos before, but this one is a little different. Instead of comparing the book and the show, I want to entirely focus on the love story in the book, give you an overview of the story and how they fell in love. So I guess you can kind of consider this a quick video before my full video on Season 4 versus Book 3. But enough intro, let's get straight into it. The essence of Bridgerton Book 3 is a love triangle. Benedict loves both a mysterious woman that he met at a masquerade ball 2 years ago and Sophie, a maid that he gets hired at his mum's house. The funny part is that this love tricycle is actually a love bicycle, as Sophie is the mysterious woman, but only she knows it. She doesn't tell him who she is. She knows that they met and they fell in love, but she doesn't tell him that, because she feels like it would only strengthen his feelings, but she thinks that he wants her to be his mistress and that he wouldn't marry her because of the difference in social status. But I'm getting ahead of myself, let's roll it back to the beginning. The story can realistically be split into 3 parts. Part 1 is the setup, or as I like to call it, the Cinderella story. The book starts with Sophie's backstory, which is honestly almost identical to Cinderella's. She is a bastard to an earl that he had with a servant. He is raising her, but he's not acknowledging her as his daughter. However, once he dies, she's forced to live as a servant because her evil stepmom hates her. Now this bit is important. The evil stepmom doesn't want to keep her, but the earl put conditions in the will about money. She gets less money if she doesn't keep Sophie. Sophie knows that part, so she knows she's not wanted and she's just kind of a negotiation. But what she doesn't know is that her dad left her a dowry. That bit the stepmom decided to keep hush-hush secret. Sophie also has 2 stepsisters, one that is also evil and the other one that is kind of sweet but weak. Only the second one really matters to the story, to be honest. Anyway, things continue like this for a few years. Then one year, the Bridgertons decide to throw a masquerade ball and Sophie is convinced to sneak in by the servants, but she has to leave by midnight. This is where she meets Benedict and they fall in love at first sight. I have to say, as someone who's read some of the books so far, not all of them, but some of them, this is my favourite meet cute by far. The whole feeling of destiny, that they can sense each other, and the fact that Benedict fell in love with her joy and she fell in love with his kindness, it was perfection. No notes. Anyway, Benedict pulls her to one side so they can have a private dance lesson. Colin interrupts. They have a little kissy and Bridgerton takes her glove off. Weirdly important part. But then midnight hits and she has to leave without him ever knowing her name or her face. The only clue, she left her grandmother's glove with the family sigil on it. This means that his investigation leads him straight to her house. Unfortunately, when he arrives, she's locked in a closet. This means he doesn't realize she's there and she doesn't realize he came for her, but the stepmom realizes who he's looking for. Long story short, she confronts Sophie, gives her a slap and a metaphorical eviction notice. Get out. Sophie leaves, but not before stealing a jewel from a shoe. Then we have a time skip. 2 years have passed. Neither Benedict nor Sophie can forget each other. Benedict spent 6 months trying to find the mystery woman and the rest of the time trying to forget her. And Sophie gets a job. You can tell they're in very different financial situations here. Priorities.
It's the hard knock life.
We then move into part 2, the bonding. Benedict randomly saves her from being assaulted by her employer's son and offers her a job at his mum's. He then gets sick before they can get to his mum and she nurses him back to health. Obviously during this time they're bonding and falling in love and whatnot. But now Benedict is torn, because on one hand he can't forget the dream of the girl he met all those years ago, but he's also falling for this maid, but at the same time he also can't marry her because she's a poor peasant. So what's a man to do? He kisses her and then asks her to be his mistress. So not the greatest start to their great romance, but think of her as Jon Snow. She's a bastard who will make no more bastards. He then, and I can't believe I'm saying this, in essence, blackmails her to go work at his mum's. He straight up tells her, go work for my mum or I'll make up a story that you stole something and send you to prison. Which is sort of foreshadowing for later. You'll see, we'll get to it. Sophie then starts to work for Violet, starts to bond with the family and fall for Benedict even more. They then do the devil's tango, the horizontal salsa, the waltz of nudity. I don't know, I ran out of dance metaphors. They do it.
Do it.
Benedict then once again is struggling in deciding. Does he want to give up on the dream of the mystery girl and in reality a lot of his social status, as he wants to be with Sophie, who he thinks is a simple maid? It's at this point that he actually figures out who she is. Benedict goes to find her and walks in on her cosplaying as Daredevil for a game. Not literally, but she's wearing a tie and is blindfolded. He recognizes that part of her face, and the tricycle finally loses a wheel. Him finding out sort of takes us to part 3. The savior arrives. And to be clear, by savior I mean Violet, because she is the MVP of this book. No joke. But either way, let's circle back. He's obviously mad, like, why have you been lying to me all this time? And she goes, you wouldn't marry me anyway, and I didn't want to make it more difficult for us, yada yada yada. He walks off in a huff, and Sophie decides to leave and go to America. Unfortunately, just as she's leaving, the wench of an evil stepmother gets her arrested for stealing a jewel and thrown into prison. She also lies and claims that Sophie stole a wedding ring, hence what I was talking about earlier with the foreshadowing. Either way, Sophie's in prison and the stepmom goes to visit her to rub her face in her victory like a 5-year-old. But what she didn't know was Sophie's relationship with Benedict. Benedict and Mama Bear MVP arrive to rescue Sophie. Now, you know that thing where you can't find the jam in the fridge and then you tell your mom and she immediately finds it, and it's like, this scene is sort of like that. Benedict punches the warden in the face, strangles evil stepmom a little, and basically doesn't do much good except declare that Sophie is his fiancée. But Violet swings her massive balls all over the scene, but especially in the face of the evil stepmom. Stop me if you've seen that video. Basically, she is like, people like me more, which means if you step up to me, you won't get any more party invites, which, as we know in the ton, big problem. But that's not enough. That is when Posey steps in. The weak-hearted of the stepsister is like, look, it's time for me to step up. Mama is a liar and a thief. She stole Sophie's dowry. Violet then uses this information to blackmail the wench to drop all the charges against Sophie, plus to back their story so that they can get married without the social status loss, etc. And then, just to add insult to injury, Violet is like, I'm taking your daughter because she's better off with me because you're trash. And she sort of adopts Posey a little bit, takes her as a ward. And then on the way out, Sophie just one punches the mum in the face. It was all incredibly satisfying to watch, not gonna lie, like real female empowerment, girls get it done vibes, and I loved it.
Girls get it done.
Either way, Benedict and Sophie go back, they apologize for all the lying and the blackmailing and the threatening, and then they have sex one more time for good measure, and epilogue. Years have gone by, they are married, still horny for each other, got 3 kids and 1 more on the way. The end. Anyway, this is just a real quick video, which is super weird to do as my subscribers know I love to ramble. Normally my videos are like 3 times this length. So if you want a more meaty video with more details, comparisons, analysis, quotes, etc., well, you'll just have to wait until the season come out. I plan to do a deeper dive video on the show when it comes out. But you know, maybe you live in the future where the video is already out. In that case, just go and watch it. This was just to give you a general idea. Either way, my video on book 4 versus season 3 will be coming out next week, so subscribe if that sounds like your vibe, or check out my other video on the first 2 seasons. Kind of some of my favorite videos, not gonna lie, and you'll love them too. So you can click on the screen now. Do it. Or else I will tell the police you stole from me and have you sent to Australia. You have been warned. But that is enough for now. Have a great day. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.